Hey everyone, welcome to this week's adventure. Today, actually it's just going to be a short one this week because there's a storm on the way. Storm Amy is apparently arriving in a few hours, so I won't be able to vlog during the storm as Rafa attacks Ollie. Yeah, I won't be able to make any videos in a few hours because apparently there's a storm on the way and it'll get windy. So it's just going to be a short one. We're just going to do one thing today, which is Bernavat in Aberdeenshire, which is a kind of rock formation. It's a massive pothole and there's a bit of a story associated with it, so we'll get into that a bit later on. But as I talk, we've just arrived at the viewpoint on the walk, and I'm going to show you something which long-time followers of the vlog will know about. So that is Loch Kinnaird. I was there in the summer. I'll put up some images on the screen to refresh your memory, but I did a walk around that entire loch back in the summertime. But as you can see now, the colours are out, and I have to say I'm absolutely loving autumn so far. Oh, there's some writing on here: glacier and kettle hole. There's also some stuff here actually about we saw that cross over at Loch Kinnaird. Anyway, as I was saying, I'm absolutely loving autumn this year. I'm loving the colours, they're so bright, but there's something about the atmosphere. There's the mist, there's a bit of rain as well going about. I'm not normally a big lover of rain, but there's just the whole thing. It's just an atmosphere around autumn, which I'm just absolutely, honestly, I'm so excited right now. And I've not been able to get out much this week. So over the weekend, today's a Friday, and over the Saturday and the Sunday I just plan to be out as much as possible. Even if it's stormy, I won't be able to video it, but I'll still take photographs. I just want to be out as much as possible because I always feel with autumn it's such a fleeting season. Nature's first green is gold, her hardest hue to hold. Her early leaf's a flower, but only so an hour. Then leaf subsides to leaf, so Eden sank to grief. So dawn goes down to day, nothing gold can stay. Just talks about the fleeting nature of autumn and the fleeting nature of life as well. I hate mushrooms to eat, but I'm kind of obsessed with photographing them right now because there's something about mushrooms in autumn that just goes together. And I'm seeing them everywhere right now, especially those red ones, those kind of cartoonish ones. Okay, as we're getting close to Bernavat, let me tell you the story of the infamous outlaw, Patrick McGregor. Some people think he might be in a relation of Rob Roy McGregor, who's far more famous because Walter Scott wrote about him. But Patrick McGregor was an infamous outlaw in the 1600s. Apparently he was born into wealth, he had a lot of money and he inherited a lot of money, but apparently squandered it quite early on and he turned to a life of crime. So he was a blackmailer, he was a cattle thief, he was just a general thief. He murdered quite a lot of people. He had a gang, and together they kind of terrorised the region for quite a long time in the 1600s. However, in the passing of time, for some reason, he's kind of been glamorised and turned to a Robin Hood type of figure, which I think people tended to do in those days, and I don't know why. I mean, if you think of Dick Turpin and people like that as well, sort of highwaymen, robbers and thieves, for some reason, some of them got turned into these kind of glamorous figures, I guess romantic figures. And apparently at one point, he was on the run from the authorities and he came and hid in the Bernavat. And he hid behind a waterfall, and it's sort of turned into a thing of folklore and legend. So we're going to go into Bernavat right now. If I can clamber over these rocks, they're kind of greasy, they're a bit wet. I always feel like I'm in Indiana Jones coming through here, because it kind of feels like you're really in a lost world. You're discovering something really glamorous. You see all the ferns hanging down and that kind of stuff, the moss as well. And then you come through this doorway thing. It kind of feels like I'm in a movie. And then you come into Bernavat. Now, as I was saying before, I think I was saying before up there, that Bernavat, they reckon it was formed thousands and thousands of years ago. I can't remember how long. But you see how it's created this kind of rock formation. And they think what happened was that there was water coming down here, which there still is, as you can see. And people have kindly left a footbridge. Yeah, so there's water coming down here, there's a waterfall. And they reckon that bit was blocked up for a long time. And so the water filled up, there was some kind of stone or rock and something in here that made it swirl about. And so as it swirled about for hundreds of years or thousands of years or whatever it is, it kind of created this formation that you can see there. Oh, I just stood in the water. And this is the waterfall behind which apparently Gilderoy, oh, I forgot to say his real name, no, his nickname was Gilderoy. I think I forgot to say that back there. So if you look him up, his name will be Gilderoy. And Harry Potter fans will know that name well, because J.K. Rowling took inspiration from the name Gilderoy and from his life and created an evil character based on him. Same red here. I think he's called Gilderoy Lockhart in the movies. I'm not a massive Harry Potter guy. I don't really know much about them, to be honest, but apparently there's a guy in the movies called Gilderoy, in the books as well, called Gilderoy Lockhart, and he's kind of based on this this character from Scottish folklore. And if we climb up a little bit, I've never actually found the bit where he hid, and I'm not sure if we should go up there with the pups, although Raf's pretty keen on it by the looks of it. But that gives you a good view of the Burn of Vat anyway, and you can see how this used to be a basin of water, and then something must have happened to push that doorway away, and then it released the water, and it left behind this kind of rock formation. So it's quite a cool thing to come and see. If you want to let your imagination run wild, you can just imagine the outlaws running across the top of that ridge there, making their way over towards the cave, with the police in hot pursuit, or whatever they had back then. Was it police they had back then, or was it just the army? Was it just soldiers? I'm not sure. But you can just imagine them kind of running across there in hot pursuit. Okay, let's go back this way. Let's go back this way, Rafi. Okay, I was just going to switch to photographs, but I thought, you know what, there's one more thing that I can show on video. It's not that stormy yet. One more thing before I stop. So this is the old line, the old Deeside line, which is now known as the Deeside Way, as you can see here. So this used to be an old railway line, and it went all the way out to Ballater. It was going to go all the way out to Braemar, I think, at one point. But Queen Victoria was not happy about having a railway line going through her estate, because Balmoral Castle's over in that direction, so it stopped at Ballater. But this was an old railway line, and now it's just used for walkers, for joggers, for cyclists, for horses even. And as you can see, this is an old station right here. So this is evidence of what it used to be, which is very pretty. I think it's quite quaint and unique. I think a lot of the stations got knocked down, unfortunately, but this one was saved and has been turned into a house. I think somebody lives here. Or do they? It's some kind of accommodation anyway. They've got some bars over the windows. Where's Ollie gone? Ollie, come this way. And so we're just going to walk along the Deeside line a little bit. And then there's a bridge at Cambus-y-May, which is just here. And then over on that side, there is some evidence of an old settlement. So we're just going to go and have a look at that. And then I shall be done. I've just noticed in the river's meant to be flowing that way, but there's some water, if you can see, that seems to be coming back this way. You can see down there's some bubbles that are coming back this way. The water's meant to be going this way, but there's some coming back this way. And there's some whirlpools down there. There's some little whirlpools. Maybe that's what caused Burn of Vat. See how there's some disturbance in the water? Clearly there's something under the water, some kind of rock. And the water's hitting it and causing it to spin and come back. I think that's probably what caused Burn of Vat. So there we see it in real time. I've never noticed that before. This is just a quick little thing before we go, but we're still quite close to Burn of Vat. We're still close to Loch Kinnaird. We've just come over the Cambusame Bridge, and I don't know if you can see here, but there's little piles of rubble. And these are the outline of cottages. There used to be a little settlement here called Torfantrick, but it's long gone. Actually, there's an information board here. History with boots on. Let me see if I can get this information board to come out and we can read about it. So that's what it looked like. Thatched cottage, just a few little houses, some people with their cattle. There's still some cows over there. It says this little cluster of ruins, it's all that's left of what could have been the farm town of Torfantrick. In its heyday a few hundred years ago, the town was a relatively comfortable place to live, as everything that its occupants needed, such as fertile fields, woods and water, were close by. Take a look at the trees close to the village. Many of them have more than one stem. That's a sign that they were once coppiced, a practice of cutting trees off at their base so they produce lots of straight stems. You often get coppice trees next to old villages because the stems could be used to make everything a house might need. I'm trying to look around now at the trees to see if I can see what they're talking about, but I can't. It's cut at the base to make straight stems. I guess I can see it here on this one. But anyway, there you go. The remains of an ancient village. That's one there, some on the left, some on the right, and this would have been the high street.